One of the biggest questions I get, most common questions I get, is one of the programs that is available, both federal and statewide, offer and compromise. And this is a touchy subject because offers sound great, and they are great when you get them, but it's difficult to be eligible for them, and they take a long time. So if things change for you over time, the time while this package is pending, it can unwind the saliency of that particular package. So for example, you come in and you're unemployed and you've had a really hard time, things are, haven't been good for a long time, you owe a lot of tax, you have a small ability to pay, you've shown that for many years, and you want to go after an offer and compromise. This is the concept of, I owe set amount of tax and I only show this small fraction of an ability to pay in the time that the agency has to collect this liability. You may be eligible for an offer. Concerns are, how old are you? If you're young, it's probably a bad case unless you're disabled or have other issues in your life that make you a poor prospect for recovery over time. The state agencies tend to collect for 20 years. And that's very loose, estimation of what the collection statute is by type of tax. The Fed tends to collect for 10 years, so they have much more favorable collection statutes. So we're looking at how long they have to collect the tax and how likely it is that you'll be able to pay the tax in that time frame. Now that's still many, many years. And if you're in a transitory period where it's been hard lately, but it's not necessarily calculated to stay that way, you may not be a good candidate for an offer. Further, if you show potential to make a lot of money, you're not a good candidate for an offer. They'd rather bide their time and see what happens in the next 4 or 5 years. They've got at least 10 to 20 years to do that. So an offer and compromise is a really great option if you sort of fit into these very specific valuation schedules for how to look at your disposable income, your earning potential, your age, your educational level, but also your assets. So if you're sitting on a home with hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity, even if you can't borrow against that equity because perhaps you're unemployed or you make too little money, you are sitting on an asset, and that asset, when valued, may exceed the value of the tax that you owe, and you're simply just not eligible. So offers are very difficult to accomplish. It's not to say that they can't be done. They certainly can be done. The higher the tax, the more likely that you might be eligible for an offer, even if you're young. But overall, the thing to know is that there's a lot of repercussions if you submit a frivolous offer. And so I'm a big advocate for being very conservative with offers. We use them only when there's really no other option for dealing with the tax and there's really no hope of ever paying it. So we're looking at your assets and your age and your earning potential in relationship to the tax owed. And the idea there is you're trying to argue that you should be approved for paying a fraction of the tax because there's no hope of really collecting it in full. These are viable programs. Offers tend to go through when I submit them, but at the same time, the thing to know is most people don't qualify for them. It's some other form of relief that we need to explore, and that's why bankruptcy becomes a very viable alternative. Also, there are other ways to chip away at the tax. Things like penalty abatement might be possible, or running the tax to its expiration date. Basically paying attention to how long the agencies have to collect it, looking at what your circumstances are, and seeing how low we can keep the tax to get to the point where these taxes start to expire. They expire, it doesn't matter what's owed, they're gone. So it's another viable strategy for dealing with the tax and ultimately paying less over time. So I hope you're enjoying these videos wherein I'm trying to connect with you and give you a sense of what to expect when you reach out to me for assistance with the tax issue or tax questions. If you enjoy this format and you'd like me to try to answer some questions for you using this format, please write into me and let me know what your questions are. I'd be happy to try to address them in these videos. Also, if you just have a question in general, just reach out and give me a call.